All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for showing up here today for our Why Your Gut Health Matters. My name is Bobbi McGrath, and we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves and then dive into the presentation. But we really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come. A lot of times people will sign up for these things and don't show up live. So thank you for showing up live because it's nice to be able to present to a live audience and answer questions. As I said, my name is Bobbi McGrath, and we want to just welcome you. We are really, really glad that you're here. And we also want you to know you are in the right place because there was something that poked you to come to this presentation today, whether it was just Heather or myself that invited you and you just are coming to gain more information, or maybe gut health has been something that has been a problem for you for maybe a short time or a long time. So we just want to thank you for coming and welcome you in, and we'll get started with our presentation. Before we do that, we wanted to give you an opportunity to show, to take a screenshot, or you can take your phone and take a screenshot of your computer screen just so you can get a hold of us. And I am on the right-hand side. My name is Bobbi McGrath, and my partner, Heather Sunderland, is on the left. We both are private practicing health coaches with our own private practice, but we also banded together this last year to create something called Navigating Mold and SIRS, because we both are mold survivors and chronic inflammatory response survivors, along with a bunch of other labels that we don't like to label ourselves with anymore, that we've recovered from. We're still peeling back the layers, but we wanted to just give you the opportunity to be able to reach out to us. We've got our private websites on there. And then if you are on social media and would like to follow us, feel free to do that. So take a screenshot. We'll show you at the end as well how to get a hold of us if you have more questions.
I'm Heather Sunderland, and we're glad you're here. And just want to talk about that this talk is for educational purposes only. We do not have your whole health history picture, so this information isn't meant to be prescriptive. Any decisions you make, please check in with whoever you're working with as a healthcare practitioner. And you're responsible, right, for the choices you make. We want to empower you and encourage you to advocate for your own health. So we just want to give you a little bit of information about how big this problem is of people having digestive issues. 2 out of 3 adults in the US live with ongoing digestive issues. That's a pretty big number. 1 in 3 have persistent gut problems and they don't get help. 70 plus a million Americans suffer from GI diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, which would be Crohn's or colitis, irritable bowel, and others. 40% of people say their gut troubles disrupt their daily lives. And I think we've probably all been there where you need like quick access to a bathroom or you can't eat certain foods and it's interfering with your routine. 51% think bloating, gas, and discomfort are just normal. And we're here to tell you these symptoms are not normal. They're your body letting you know it needs support and attention.
So the gut health industry is quite a booming industry, and unfortunately, it's not for good reasons. It's because people are suffering a lot with their gut health. And um, Heather, is this your slide? Are you supposed to be speaking on this one?
Yep, that's yours.
It's mine. Okay. So typically, they keep track of a lot of the market as far as what they're spending, and you can see back in 2023 that just in the U.S. alone, the digestive health products market, they spent $13 billion, which should tell you that that's quite a bit of gut health issues going on there. And the global market is expected to expand quite a bit to $105 billion. And the supplement industry alone is projected to reach a 22 billion by 2030, which is an enormous amount of people's paychecks going towards things that are trying to help them with their gut health, or supplements to improve their gut health. So, why does this matter? We want to make sure you understand why you're here today. And we want to make sure you also understand that your gut health is not just digestion. There's a ton of information that we're going to be providing to you today. And we want you to understand that your gut is what, if you've ever heard it called the second brain of your body, but a lot goes on in your gut, more than I think a lot of people realize. It impacts your immunity, your gut health does, and your energy. It also impacts your mood and your long-term health based on that. And when your gut is out of balance, typically your whole body feels out of balance. Most people don't feel like themselves, especially if they're struggling with constipation or nausea or something like that. If you think about maybe the hours after you have your Thanksgiving meal, if that's the way you feel all the time, a lot of times people don't realize that their gut is really impacting their life. So, real quick, Heather and I want to give you a little bit of information about ourselves. My name is Bobbi McGrath, and I am a certified regenerative health and detox practitioner. And I work with people on chronic illnesses, chronic diseases, working especially with people that have struggled with mold or are interested in detoxifying their body. I'm happily married to my husband Tim, and I have three children. And my health story is that I helped myself identify and restore my health from PTSD, mold toxicity, and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And that stands, you'll see the word SIRS sometimes, and that's what that stands for. And my why in this industry is to let people know that they don't have to suffer, that there are ways to detoxify from the environment in the modern world and to bring their health back into balance, to regenerate from the inside out. It doesn't matter how old you are or what diseases you've overcome or have. I want people to know that education and awareness are really important. And for you to be a health seeker, which all of you attending here today are, we're excited that you're here. And we want you to understand that there's a lot of information we're going to prepare or bring to you. And we don't want you to get overwhelmed, but we want you to have hope for being able to restore your health by just taking one small step each day.
Thanks, Bobby. And Bobby is really the reason that I'm here because Bobby was the one who helped me figure out that I had mold toxicity and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. So I am forever thankful to Bobby because I would not be well now, I think, if it wasn't for her. Our stories sort of intertwined and overlapped. But I am also a board certified functional health coach, and I use the regenerative approach to help people, mostly people with Lyme mold and chronic inflammatory response syndrome, where many people come to me and they don't realize that they're toxic. And addressing toxicity is such a big part of our health crisis today. I'm happily married and I have one adult son. And I had a story of 22 years of undiagnosed Lyme disease, Bartonella, and a lifetime of mold exposure. So I was pretty sick when Bobby met me, and I was able to restore my health. And as Bobby said, still peeling away a few layers, but I do not have Lyme, Bart, mold, SIRS. And I'm working again after 20 plus years of disability and being very much homebound. So my desire for educating people and doing these educational webinars is I really, like Bobby said, we want to give people hope. If people are struggling with health problems, we want them to know there are answers, there are solutions that we can get to the root cause of why you're having digestive issues or other issues and help you to move the needle a lot quicker than I did because there were so many pieces my practitioners were missing. And that's why I stayed sick for so long. So, are you struggling? And put a one in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing with digestive symptoms like chronic bloating, irregular bowel movements, food intolerances, or cramping and digestive discomfort. Thanks for sharing. You're in the right place then. Are you struggling with systemic symptoms where you're chronically tired even after a good night's sleep? You have brain fog, you're having, say, anxiety or depression, or sleep disturbances. If you feel like sharing, put a one in the comments if you're struggling with any of those symptoms. Okay, so we got some people who are struggling. Are you struggling with symptoms that are affecting your desire to have sweets? Are you finding it's hard to lose weight, or you're gaining weight? Or is your blood sugar just not stable? And
Or
last,
maybe you have an inflammatory process or an immune system issue. And you can see this person here has a mask of inflammation across her cheeks and nose. That actually is uh, rosacea, um, a skin condition, and it's severe gut injury when you have gut rosacea. But your gut also is involved when you have frequent infections. It can't get over an infection. You just struggle to get through a viral load or something like that. Any other skin issues your gut is also involved in your liver, especially when you have things like eczema, psoriasis, acne, uh, joint pain is also something that is very common with people that struggle with their gut health. And then allergies and sensitivities, because your gut is your front door. And when that's open and damaged and inflamed, you're going to struggle with reacting to things. Your body's going to be overreactive. And so then you've got the sensitivities, the food sensitivities, like Heather mentioned, or you've got the allergies to different seasonal allergies or to foods, or even um, what they call multiple chemical sensitivities. You may have heard that before as MCS, where you just really can't handle any type of scent at all, or fumes and things like that. So a lot of people accept digestive issues as being normal. They just get used to it. This is just how I am. This is how it works. There's nothing I can do about it. But your gut is trying to tell you something really important. And the real question is, are you listening? And there are some conditions that are chronic conditions because of, injuries to a particular organ or something like that, that aren't just going to go away just because you take a probiotic. But a lot of people don't have to get to that place if they listen to the body.
so we're glad you're here. And let's dive into our content about the gut. We're going to be covering what the microbiome actually is, what influences our microbiome, the hidden toxins that impact our gut, and the impact of ignoring these symptoms that you're having, and some solutions to get you on the road to improve your gut. So, the gut microbiome is basically everything from the mouth to the anus. Now, keep in mind there are other microbiomes in the body. The mouth has a microbiome, the skin has a microbiome, just to name a few. Now, in our body, in our gut, there are more bacterial cells than there are human cells in our bodies. And so those cells are bacteria, fungi, viruses, and parasites. They're supposed to be there, but they're supposed to be there at a low level. They do serve a purpose. Bacteria can help us break down our food, and viruses can help keep other bacteria in check, and parasites can help mop up heavy metals, and all of these things can help our immune system to work well. The problem is when these loads of pathogens get out of balance and get elevated, which Bobby and I both experienced because of mold toxicity. And for me, Lyme and mold, they got way out of balance. So very, very, very important to understand that you are going to have these things in the body, but we don't want an overgrowth of pathogens, just like you don't want an overgrowth of weeds in your garden. So the gut controls so much more than you think. I love this picture that Bobby put up here. It is the control center of our entire body's health. It's not just about digesting food. There's so much more that the gut does. So the gut influences your immune system. 70% of your immune system resides in the gut. So if your gut is out of balance, you are going to be more open to getting sick, to getting infections. The gut produces 90% of serotonin, which is our happy hormone. So when people's guts aren't healthy, they're more prone to anxiety and depression. And the gut is the key for our energy metabolism, and weight management is heavily influenced by having a healthy gut microbiome. So the gut also influences our mental clarity. Many of you may have heard there's this connection between the gut and our brain, the gut brain axis, it's called, and they call the gut our second brain. So if the gut is inflamed and out of balance, it can affect your mental health as well. And the gut influences our hormone balance and our stress response. If that gut lining is out of balance, and then our skin health and appearance of our skin is directly influenced by our gut. As we improve our gut health on the inside of our body, the outside of our body is going to look healthier and our skin is going to look brighter. And that's like a wonderful side benefit.
Definitely. So the functions of the gut, in order to have a healthy microbiome, there's a lot of things that go into it, and we're going to discuss that a little bit more. But when you enjoy a healthy microbiome, meaning it's balanced and the good guys, uh, the bad guys don't outweigh the good guys, you're going to have healthy digestion. So food is going to move from your mouth through your stomach down into your intestines and exit. And it's going to be really regular. You're going to have a rhythm. You're not going to feel extra full. You're not going to have digestive symptoms like GERD and reflux and constipation. A healthy microbiome is also going to give you a strong immunity. So if something were to come in, because we are exposed every single day to things that come into our mouth and go down into our digestive tract. And when you've got a really good, strong digestive enzymes and gut bacteria that are going to break down those things like a viral load or a bacterial load. Um, have you ever heard people going out to the same restaurant and eating, and some people, maybe at a party, they all eat the same thing, but only two people end up getting sick and the rest don't. A lot of times those people are the people that struggle with their gut health, and because they don't have the strong balance inside their gut. You're also going to have a balanced mood, and as Heather already mentioned, you're going to have a clearer skin. And then the other piece to having a strong gut health is just steady energy, reliable energy that you can rely on each day when you wake up, that you're going to be able to get up and move around and do the things that you want to do. So one of the things we want to bring onto your radar is environmental toxins. It is one of the biggest hidden threats to your gut health, is how we live in a very toxic world, especially since the 60s and the 70s of the Industrial Revolution. The chemicals in the human body, our human body was never meant to handle the level that we are being exposed to, unfortunately. And our exposure to them has exploded, especially in these last few decades. And if it affects biological systems in the body, and it impacts our gut probably the most, I would say. So some areas to put on your radar for thinking about, well, where would I need to be a little more concerned? This is not to overwhelm you, because people can get very overwhelmed. Like, there's so much to think about and so many things, doesn't matter what I do. And we want you to just know that this is a process. You take steps to change things. And so this slide is going to just give you a little bit of information on where you come into contact with external environmental toxins. Um, Indoor air quality, a lot of people don't think about, but our houses have been built to be so tight and so energy efficient that they don't breathe. And we spend a lot of time indoors. And a lot of times people don't realize that they are actually getting exposed to more toxins indoors because of that. And then we all know the outdoor air, whether it's fires from forest fires, where there's smoke from that, or factories, or maybe you live by a highway where you're going to get a lot of just the fumes from the trucks and the rubber off gassing from the tires and things like that. Our food supply is a source of environmental toxins, especially if you are eating non-organic food that's been sprayed with pesticides, or you're potentially having different foods that maybe haven't been prepared properly, or have a high bacteria load. Our body care products are also another really big area that you can have a lot of choices that you can make to mitigate. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But everything we put on our skin, whether it's lotion, shampoo, makeup, um, even our clothes, have an impact because our body is absorbing from all of those products. And if they're man-made, they're chemicals and things like that, we are increasing our body's load. Cleaning products are in the same category, meaning we all have to clean, but we don't have to use a lot of the harsh chemicals that are out there that have the odors that come from them. There's a lot of airborne chemical smells from a lot of cleaning products. And Heather and I make our own cleaning products, and it's cheaper and it's less expensive and it's much, much less toxic. Uh, Water is definitely something that I feel like I will tell my clients if they ask me, what's the one thing they should do right away. I always make sure that they filter their water, or at least tell them they could figure out a way to filter their water the best way they can, and as much as you can afford to fill it or filter it, meaning there's the good, better, best methods, and we can talk about that later. Toxic relationships. A lot of people don't realize your environment includes your relationships that you have with people, and how you interact and how much stress they're putting on you, and how you feel after you've had those interactions. And those definitely impact and accumulate in your body, and especially in your gut. You'll hear people say, "Oh, my stomach dropped when I had to have this conversation with someone." Home products are also a place that you can get impacted by toxins, by off-gassing of new things like carpet, furniture, new car, using Teflon pans, things like that that you've probably heard are not the best for you. And then chemicals outside. We can't control the chemicals outside, but we can at least be aware of them. So if you're a golfer, making sure you're washing your hands and not wearing your golf shoes into the house, things like that, with the glyphosate that they're spraying on the golf course. So, why your gut is under attack? Our modern lifestyle creates a perfect storm for dysfunction, and it's leaving a lot of people wondering. So, we want you to understand that this is a choice, that you have excuse me, that you have choices. And when it comes to your environmental toxin and your lifestyle factors, remember, you can't control everything, but you can make the next best right choice for yourself that matters the most and brings you the peace, the energy, and improves your health. So we came up with 3 questions just to ask yourself when you're thinking about your home, when you're thinking about the food you eat and the clothes you purchase and how you live your life. Is this something that I'm exposed to daily or occasionally? And if it's a daily, if your answer is daily, then you probably really do want to investigate why or ways that you would want to change what you're doing. Do I have the ability to change or reduce or replace it? And if you do, go slow at it and change it as you run out of it or swap it out. Or if you're getting ready to buy something new, do the research on carpet, do the research on, let's say, the water filtration, and buy the best thing that you can afford and that works for you. And then how much stress does thinking about this create for me? If there's a particular area that you struggle with, like a lot of times people really don't want to give up certain things in their home or their life, and it's too stressful to think about, then don't tackle that first. But if it is something that really is impacting your health and you can tell that it's a daily thing, then you do really do need to investigate it. So one of the things we want to make sure that you walk away with today is to understand that your gut health, there is a gut brain connection, as Heather mentioned. And I mentioned earlier, there's the second brain in your gut, and it connects to your nervous system. And actually, your gut and brain communicate constantly through the vagus nerve, which runs from the back of the brain, down your neck, and into your abdominal cavity, and innervates a lot of pretty much all of your organs. So there's a connection there. And there's probably for every message that goes up from the gut, which would be 10, there's one message that comes down from the brain. So it's very lopsided in the fact that the gut is actually informing the brain of a lot of information more than the brain is telling the gut. So it's this vagus nerve is pretty much the area that your body it's using the vagus nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, is where your body regulates digestion, motility, which is when your food moves from the mouth all the way down to be excreted. So it's how your body moves things along. It's involved with inflammation and even your emotional balance. And when the body is exposed to toxins, which I just went through, um, and many others, the vagus nerve can become inflamed or sluggish, meaning it's just not working very well. It takes you longer to recover from things, whether it's an illness, whether it's like you get scared or frightened by something, and it just takes you a while to shake it off. It can also reduce your motility, and it can also cause problems with digestive efficiency, meaning can you have a meal? Can you assimilate it, break it down, absorb it, turn it into waste, and send it out? Do you move along on a rhythmic schedule like that? Or is it not moving along well because it's interrupted? And one of the things that is involved in your gut that's really important to kind of just have a concept of is the migrating motor complex, because it's a cleaning wave that happens after you've eaten and you've taken a pause where you're not eating anymore. It's a rhythmic contraction that actually sweeps undigested food and bacteria and the particles and toxins through the intestine between your meals. So that's why it's important to take some time during your day and make sure you have at least a 12-hour window where your body is not consuming food. So an example of that is that let's say you have dinner at 6 o'clock, you clean up and you're done. You don't eat anything from maybe 7 p.m. until 7 the next day. That would be a great time for your body to be able to do cleanup. And so if you're nighttime snacking or you're a grazer throughout the day where you're constantly every hour eating something little, the migrating motor complex really struggles to work well. It also gets stressed out by toxins and stress and shuts down when you have those toxins and stress. So mitigating your stress. And I'll let Heather tell you a little bit about what's been her experience so you can understand it more at a story level. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I recently was very sick over the summer with one parasitic infection called Giardia and H. pylori bacterial infection, both really impacting the nervous system and the vagal nerve. And it really brought this information home for me. I needed, and it damaged my migrating motor complex. And literally after the infections were gone, my body stopped being able to move things through my digestive tract, and I'm having to do nervous system work and vagal nerve tone work 4 times a day. If I skip the vagal nerve tone work, I have much more GI symptoms. And I'm having to do a lot of things that support this migrating motor complex because these pathogens and toxins can do it as well, do damage this nervous system and migrating motor complex. So it's often very much a missing piece of people's digestive issues. And it wasn't fun to go through, but it was really great as a health coach to learn these lessons personally and to really understand how important this is. So we want to just mention that one of the toxins that a lot of people, and this is Bobby and my area of specialty, don't realize is a lot of times clients come to us and they don't know they're being exposed to mold in their home. It's 70% of the time you don't see it or smell it, but mold and the byproducts of mold do damage the digestive tract, and they negatively impact the vagal nerve, and they negatively impact the nervous system. So we want to increase awareness about that. Half of the homes in the US And I think that is an underestimate, but half of the homes have a history of water damage. And like I said, my house, even in the desert, had building material mold, brand new build in the desert. So a lot of times people have no idea they're being exposed. If you see it, it's not a good thing, but it's very common for it not to be seen. And it will wipe out the good bacteria in the gut and then lead to overgrowth of other pathogens. So we want to help you understand how a compromised gut creates a vicious cycle. And I feel like I personally sort of just experienced this vicious cycle when we're exposed to toxins or pathogens. And I was just exposed to these nasty pathogens. I don't know where I was exposed to them, but then that leads to increased inflammation in the gut. And then that weakens the gut microbiome and the gut barrier, which leads to things leaking out into the bloodstream, causing inflammation, causing a decrease in absorption of nutrients, and then leading to an increase in other pathogens in the gut, which will lead to you craving things that aren't good for you because those pathogens want to be fed those healthy processed foods. And then that leads to more gut damage and poor food choices. And as you can see, it becomes a vicious cycle, but we can intervene and break this cycle. So we want to just sort of explain to you how these toxins and pathogens come into the body. Number one, we can ingest things through food or water, which is how I think I actually got the H. pylori and Giardia. We can inhale things, and I live on a golf course. So if I go out and walk on my beautiful golf course, I'm inhaling pesticides that they spray on the golf course. We can absorb things through our skin, which then get into the bloodstream and then damage our gut. So that's why Bobby mentioned our skincare products. Anything we put on our body gets absorbed into the bloodstream in 26 seconds. So thinking about what you put on your skin, is it very toxic? Can you shift to something healthier? And then these toxins that come into our body and pathogens, the liver is going to detox them. The liver is our body's major, major filter. And the liver with the gallbladder produce bile. Bile is an emulsifier, which is going to help with breaking down our fat, but it's also going to be taking these toxins out um, from the bile to the gut so that you can detox them out through your bowel movement. So the toxins can really impair our liver and our gallbladder, which have this beautiful dance with digestion. And if our gallbladder and liver are struggling, we will also have digestive issues. So, these toxins and pathogens have an antibiotic effect on the gut, right? Wiping out the good and the bad bacteria, which leads to these imbalances in the gut where the bad bacteria can sort of take over. An example of that can be mold exposure, wiping out the good bacteria. When I just had H. pylori and Giardia, it wiped out all the good stuff, and I'm having to re-inoculate the gut with really, really healthy things. Toxins are also going to cause inflammation. They cause inflammation in the gut. They also cause inflammation systemically in the body. And when that inflammation happens in the intestinal lining, I'm going to just show you with my hands. On the left side, the normal healthy gut, these tight junctures where nothing can get through the gut. But when we're exposed to toxins, these junctures weaken, and then things can go through these spaces and leave the gut and go into the bloodstream and cause autoimmunity, systemic inflammation, and so many health issues. Toxins also cause metabolic dysfunction. When a gut's been exposed to toxins, it can no longer produce healing compounds in the gut. It's going to struggle to break down the harmful compounds in the gut. It's going to struggle to regulate your metabolism and to maintain a healthy gut pH. A lot of times when we're being exposed to these toxins and pathogens, we can have um, lower level of stomach acid, which then makes in the stomach, that's where we want to have, higher stomach acid. But when we have lower stomach acid, it allows those bad bugs to increase. And then this just leads to nutritional deficiencies and low energy. And then toxins can lead to hormonal dysfunction. It can lead to struggling to regulate blood sugar, to regulate appetite, to regulate your stress hormones, your cortisol, and because the gut is so tied to our brain, to regulate your neurotransmitters. So that can lead to this hormone disruption, these food cravings, and being depressed or anxious.
So some tips to consider on how to reduce your toxic load, and this is just a small, like, tip of the iceberg kind of thing, is, as I mentioned before, filtering your tap water the best way you can and afford. Meaning, check out your tap water, see what's in it, get it tested potentially. You can also go to the ewg.org website and put in your zip code, and you can find out what's in your water because they do a national updating of that information, unless you're in an unincorporated area that maybe doesn't report. But you can test your tap water, you can look and see what there is, and you can filter your tap water so that you can feel safe when you're drinking it and using it for cooking and things like that. Buying organic as often as possible, especially when it comes to fruits and vegetables, and just being able to eat the foods that don't have pesticides on there. You're going to be able to bring down your load really quickly by doing that. And you want to focus on the Dirty Dozen, which is also on the website at ewg.org. They have a list every year. They do a ton of research and they make a list of the top 12 most sprayed with pesticide fruits and vegetables or produce. And they also make a top 15, what they call the clean 15, which are ones that you don't necessarily have to purchase as organic. I would start there and then just go out from there as much as you can, incorporating organic foods because it really is a daily accumulated load. And then avoiding the using plastic and drinking out of plastic. Plastic, they say that we probably eat about a credit card's worth of plastic on a weekly basis just by being in our modern world. So you making conscious efforts to use plastic less. So those water bottles that are in a case and you bring them into your home and you drink out of them, swap those out for using a glass or stainless steel in your home. Filter your water, drink your water, and take it with you. Take it with you in your water bottles so that you don't have to purchase those. I know when we travel and you go to the airports and things like that, you do end up having to purchase it, but as much as you can, eliminate using plastic or storing your food in plastic. Never heat your food in plastic and things like that.
Some other ways you can reduce toxic exposure, all man-made fragrances. So like perfume and fragrance is added to so many things, cleaning products, candles. Just the more you can eliminate that, they really disrupt your endocrine system and affect your hormones. I now use essential oils. I use them on my skin if I want to smell pretty. I use essential oils on dry wool balls that go in my dryer instead of dryer sheets, which are highly toxic. But anything that has a wonderful scent, like those Glade plugins or whatever brand it is, right? You're putting toxic chemicals into the air you breathe. Working on just eating whole food, which means eating food that's not processed, right? Pre-prepared, full of additives and preservatives. Looking, if you're buying something pre-prepared, look at the ingredients and see, do you know what all those ingredients are? If you don't know what something is, it's a chemical name, you may want to consider just making your food at home, planning your meals, using a crock pot, pressure cooker, air fryer to just make fresh food is a huge way to decrease your toxic exposure and help your gut and your entire body. And then we've mentioned about swapping out your body care and cleaning products for things that are non-toxic. And I would not get overwhelmed by this. I took me an 8-year process to like gradually shift things out of my home. So when you're ready to replace your shampoo or conditioner, look for something that's natural. Use Castile soap. Like Bobby said, cleaning products are easy. I take a bottle, spray bottle, add some water, vinegar, a little natural dish soap like Castile soap. If I want it to have a scent, I will add an essential oil to it to make it smell good. I make my own window cleaner with alcohol. So, very inexpensive to do, but I would just start where you feel you're ready. And the next time you need to replace something, replace it with a healthy choice.
Yep. And one of my favorite things that we buy gallons of it is white vinegar. I use it in
Mm,
my laundry in every single load. It's a disinfectant. It's an antimicrobial, meaning it's killing the bad guys. It's also softens your clothes instead of putting downy. When I always tell people when I'm doing my how to decrease your toxic load webinars, I'm like, if you're taking a walk and you smell somebody's doing their laundry and you smell the downy, you need to associate that smell in your brain with kind of with danger, not with like, oh, that's a beautiful springtime smell. It's actually a toxin. It's not good for you. So just reorienting your smell and choosing to go with the natural things like vinegar, that are going to clean things instead of giving you a scent, like those little dryer pellets that they
uh,
have where you put it into the washer or the dryer. I don't even know how to
oh
use
my
those
gosh.
things. Those are just like literally chemical bombs.
Bobby, how much vinegar do you put in the wash? Like, do you put like a half a cup?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Just pour it
I
right in.
used to do that and
Yeah.
I
And
haven't
it's
done it,
great.
but it does soften.
It was great when my kids did lacrosse and their equipment just smelled horribly. And I would literally throw all their pads and the equipment in the wash and throw in the vinegar. And it helped greatly for being in the car with them and all of their equipment. So we've reached a place where we want you to think about and just sit there for a second and think about, where am I at in my life with regard to my gut health and my health in general, the choices I'm making, and which side do you feel kind of like that you're on? Are you working in survival mode? You have choice in this matter. It's survival mode or staying sick and miserable or releasing, reviving, and restoring. And that comes from making a daily choice in your life to choose health, to choose yourself, to put yourself first. So we want to give you some information on just and a little motivation on being able to invest in your health, because the true cost of ignoring your gut health or any other health symptom that you have is impacting the quality of your life and your future health. And by staying on a path where you're just medicating, um, and you're taking a pill for an ill, or you're just suppressing symptoms, you over time will probably have worsened symptoms and you could have an increased risk of having a chronic disease. Because I heard in a webinar the other day that our dysregulation or our disease begins at the cellular level, at the tiny, tiny atom cell, and then it moves to the the more of the bigger cell, and cells make up tissue and tissues make up organs. So it is starts at the cell, moves to the tissue, which is the organ, and then the organ becomes diseased. So in a way, when you're getting these signals, you need to think about the fact that you're in a progression that you really want to shut down. It also helps your body when you are ignoring your symptoms. It's not helping it, but you're losing productivity and energy, because energy is at the cellular level. So when the cells are struggling, your energy is going to struggle. You're going to find that you're going to be spending a lot more money and time on symptoms management, and obviously decreased quality of life. So investing in your health is a foundational choice that you're making for yourself. And it's going to do all the opposite of what I just talked about. It's going to increase your energy and your vitality. And I know sometimes when we're around our kids, and they are older now, my kids are late 20s, early 30s. And several years ago, they were like, why do you and dad do all these things to, you do this and do that, why do you do that? And I kind of looked at them and I said, eventually I want to still be able to do and be a vital grandma and grandpa. I want to be able to pick up my grandbabies and take care of them. I want to be able to move around and run around the park and stuff, not just sit on the bench. So thinking about it in that term or that frame and thinking about your life and your vitality and your energy, you're going to be a nicer person to be around because you're going to have a better mood and you're going to be with it, right? Having mental clarity is huge, and your gut health is a big, big piece to that, as long as also with your immune system. Your immune system, as we mentioned before, there's a huge portion of your immune system. It's not just from your spleen, which makes all of your immune cells, but it's actually rooted in your gut lining. And when your gut lining's healthy, your immune system has a fighting chance to fight off things like COVID. Um, and it also helps prevent the future health issues that could be down the line if you just keep ignoring it.
So other programs fail when you're looking at the gut because I'm going to say the last thing first. Other programs don't work on the nervous system. And we talked about that gut brain highway and how pathogens and toxins impact the nervous system and the gut. So that's really, really critical. Other programs focus on diet. I had SIBO, and that's an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine. And I was put on a low FODMAP diet. It was a very, very restrictive diet. It was only focusing on managing my symptoms. It did not address the root cause. And it was ignoring the fact that I was dealing with environmental toxins in my body. So that sort of hits the first three common failures. Many approaches are one size fits all protocol where everybody's put on the same thing, but we're each very unique. And the probiotic and the support that your body needs is going to be different from your friend or your husband. My husband and I both had mold toxicity, and even though the principles we used to heal were the same, my husband had leaky gut, I had SIBO from mold. We had different gut issues, and we needed different approaches to heal our guts. The lack of proper sequencing, other approaches, a lot of people will throw a probiotic at you when your body's not ready for a probiotic. We have to assess motility and digestive enzymes and stomach acid and just make sure we're doing things in the right order for you to have success in restoring gut health. And then a lot of other um, people you work with are not giving you ongoing support. So these are important areas that other approaches fail. And our solution, obviously, with what we're calling the root cause gut reset, is to make sure that you are getting an individualized approach, that we are addressing your root causes to your gut issues. For some people, that may be mold. For some people, that may be a combination of things: overgrowth of pathogens, bacteria, viruses, parasites. We want to help you decrease your overall toxin load that's coming right into the body, and help your body be able to release those toxins well that you're being exposed to. We want to address the nervous system and teach you how to use nervous system supports to help your gut. And we're going to work out a step by step strategic plan.
So the big question is for you right now, if you're sitting here going through this information and wondering, it all sounds great, not really sure where to start from there, is your gut a priority for you right now to restore it? Is it the thing that's screaming the loudest for you? If your answer is yes, then the root cause reset, which is a 6-week gut transformation by virtual group program, is something that we would like to invite you to consider joining us, because we're going to take this group of health seekers and people that are really struggling with their gut, or just maybe you're not super struggling, but you just know that it's been something that you've always wanted to work on. Or even after today, maybe there was things that hit you and poked you in the ribs and said, hey, you've had this problem for a while, or that's an issue. We start on Monday. And it is a weekly program, meaning that we meet once a week on Mondays for 6 weeks and we walk you through it. We're really excited, Heather and I, because we feel like we put together a program that's comprehensive, like she said, that's ongoing support, that's going to be something that's going to really bring you through to the end of it and make a difference. And that's why it's called a gut transformation, not just a gut, reset or a detox. So here's some information about the 6 module framework, just so you know what steps you'd be going through on this gut health journey. Each module builds upon itself. So it's important for you to be able to join us. It will be videotaped. So if you can't make it on Monday nights, you'll still be able to watch the video during the week. And we give you homework, we give you specific things. But the first module is, as Heather mentioned, the nervous system, because a lot of times people don't realize, and I hope you do today, that the nervous system is integral part of how our body functions with our gut supports and our digestion, our emotions, um, and how we even absorb our food. So a lot of times people don't realize that if they're eating in a fight or flight state and they're stressed out and they're eating, they're not going to absorb their food and their nutrients. Or if they're having a stressful period of time, they're going to struggle with their gut health unless they find some space in their nervous system on a daily basis. So that's what module 1 is going to teach you, is how to do that.
Module 2 is going to teach you about digestion, what happens in the process of digestion, how it starts in the mouth, and just that whole process and things that you can do to help your digestion.
Module 3 is going to go through inflammation, which everybody on this call has heard, and anybody on the replay has heard about inflammation, but it's going to explain what it is, why it is impacting your body, how it's helping you hold on to fat sometimes, how it's making you tired. It's going to go through all of that. And it's also going to help you brainstorm on ways that you can reduce your own personal inflammation.
So, module 4 is on the microbiome. So, that whole ecosystem we talked about from the mouth and the anus, and taking a look at that microbiome and what we can do to make sure that it's functioning, um, and what supports that you may need to add in to make sure that it's functioning really, really well.
And module 5 is going to be the gut barrier. So you're going to understand how to improve your inner defense system and what are the things that you may be doing that are breaking down your gut barrier.
And then our last module, module 6, which is a really important topic, we're going to talk about detox pathways. The more your detox pathways are supported, your liver, your gallbladder, your lymph, your kidneys, and your bowels, the more that the toxins you're being exposed to on a daily basis, your body's going to be able to move them out of the system.
Yep. And we're also going to work on breath work in the nervous system modules so that you can work on working with your lungs, which are one of your biggest detox organs, which doesn't really ever get mentioned enough in a lot of these programs.
So, if you are looking to join us, we are going to be completely supporting you on this transformational journey. This program is going to include 6 comprehensive modules with step-by-step protocols. You're going to be getting stuff sent out to you to support you each week. We have a private Facebook group where we're going to be in that Facebook group supporting you and just checking in and seeing how things are going in between. You are going to get a 45-minute health coaching call with one of us to customize your needs, which is really Bobby and I, what we charge for a 45-minute call would be $120. We're adding that in so that we can make sure the support that you're getting is really customized to the gut issues that you are having. You will get recommendations for supplements based on your needs to support your body, to restore your gut health. And we will be meeting every week, and those calls will be recorded. So this would normally be about $1,500, but we're offering it to you today for $497. And again, everything you get, you will get the recordings if you can't make it live. So we just want to share some testimonials from people who have worked with us. Um, Dawn said about Bobby that Bobby goes above and beyond when it comes to providing helpful information, motivation, and support. Since starting to work with her, she has provided me with all the tools I need to meet all my health needs successfully. Her program was a great jump start for what I needed.
And Petra shared that Heather's guidance worked a lot, and she said that she's feeling much better. She said Heather was supportive every step of the way and extremely knowledgeable and caring, which I know that because I've worked with Heather now for almost a year and a half every day practically, and she's incredibly, incredibly knowledgeable and caring.
So there is science behind what we're doing. These are evidence-based protocols. And keep in mind, Bobby and I both had our own gut issues related to mold toxicity and chronic inflammatory response syndrome that we did restore our gut health. Recently, I'm working on restoring it again after Giardia and H. pylori, but this is all based on research. There are over 500,000 published studies on the gut microbiome, and there's this proven connection between toxins and gut dysfunction. The protocols we use are evidence-based. We both have worked with probably combined well over 1,000 clients, and we're always working on gut health with our clients. And you will have tools to sort of track and assess how you're doing through this program.
So you might be sitting here saying, well, am I a good fit for this program? Is this something I should be doing? And I want to tell you the perfect person, and there is no perfect person, but the best fit would be is a person who's tired of managing your symptoms. You're just tired of trying to figure it out on your own, and you're struggling with always kind of backtracking and second guessing yourself. You're also ready to get to the root cause of why you're struggling so much. And you are interested in using a science-based approach, meaning that it's not just something we came up with and Google searched, but it actually has science behind it. We want somebody that is really committed to making lasting changes and that it's not something that's just, I'm going to lose a few pounds before the holidays or fit into a dress for a specific occasion, and that you value the comprehensive support and guidance that we would be giving you. And you're going to be tuned in and checked in to working with us. It is not for the person who wants a quick fix or a magic pill. And it is also not for the person who's really not ready to make a lifestyle change. You need to be prepared to make changes and be open. I think that's really the biggest thing. You don't have to make every single change, and it's all personal choices. And that you also want, if you're a person who just wants to treat your symptoms only, that you just want to get rid of a headache or you want to get rid of the gas and bloating, but you don't want to do anything else to get to the bottom of it, that would probably not be a person that would want to be taking this program. So the root cause reset, it's starting on Monday, the 13th, so in a few days. And I'm excited, I know Heather is too, just to be able to connect with people and to be there on a weekly basis, because we did a 12-week program last winter and we really got to know our students, and they were sad when we were done working with them on the particular project that we were doing or program we were doing. But we would love to have you join us and come into this program and really see transformation in your own life with what you're doing. We start at 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Eastern, so 7 p.m. Central.
I just put the wrong link in the chat. I'm putting the right link in the chat. It says navigating mold and SIRS root cause gut reset. If you want more information on the program and you want to take a look at the info and how you can sign up and join us. And again, here's our picture. If you want to connect with us, take a screenshot. Those It gives you our websites, our information, our social media. We would love to have you follow us.
Yep.
And
Thank you for attending. We're going to go ahead and switch back to our full screen so you don't see slides anymore, but please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We'd love for anybody that's here live to stick around if there's questions you have about the presentation or maybe there's questions about the program that we're offering with the root cause reset. Anything in particular about it that you have questions about? Because it's a smaller group, we're happy to have you go off mute. You're welcome, Teresa. Thanks for coming. Um, we're welcome to have you guys go off mute and just ask us a question if you wanted to raise your hand. If you see in the toolbar down at the bottom, there's a chat and there's also a place you can just click and it'll raise your hand so that we know who has a question.
You can also type your question into the chat and I'll read it. And this is our favorite part. Our favorite part is the Q&A at the end. So please don't be shy. If you have questions about our presentation, if you have questions about our personal struggles with gut issues, if you have questions about the 6-week transformation starting on Monday, how about cholesterol? Does gut health impact LDL? Do you want us to both answer? Do you want to answer, Bobbi?
I will share a little bit and you can share what you think too. So I do know for sure that so your liver is where a lot of your cholesterol is produced. And there's, they always call it the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol, and there actually isn't a good and bad cholesterol. Inflammation, when it occurs inside of the blood vessels, the body's going to bring cholesterol to that area to repair the damage to the blood vessel. It's also going to need cholesterol to make new cells. So if you are purging, detoxifying, cleaning up the terrain inside of your body, you're going to need more cholesterol because that's the cell membrane. So, um, as far as cholesterol goes, I know when I was moving into being really ill with mold, my cholesterol was well over 300. And I was like, what the heck? I thought I ate well, I exercised and all of that. But it turned out that my body was so toxic that my body was overproducing cholesterol to clean up the inflammation in the system. So high cholesterol doesn't always mean that you're eating terrible or that you're going to McDonald's drive-through. It can actually be a sign that your body is really struggling with inflammation.
Good
What do you think?
question.
Do you have anything to add, Heather?
Well, I actually had the opposite experience. My cholesterol was too low because I was chronically ill. My husband's was too high because of mold exposure, but my cholesterol was like 115, which I was told was not good. But it was because I was sick and toxic. So I think our bodies are just different, how we're impacted by these toxins and how our body responds. But a lot of times, elevated cholesterol is a sign of inflammation, and you want to get to the root of why. And that can be gut inflammation, but it can be systemic inflammation as well from toxins and pathogens.
And as far as specifically what Annie asked is what about cholesterol? Does gut health impact the LDL? When your gut is moving and you have quieted the inflammatory fire process that's going on in the system, right? We've taken that gut lining and like Heather said, we've got this open gut lining and we, close it up. We tighten up the gut. We tighten up the junctions. Then we don't need so much cholesterol to repair it all. We don't need so much going on in the system as far as restoration. But cholesterol is one of those things where it's been very much vilified, and it really is something that we do need to have. And unfortunately, taking a statin to reduce your cholesterol, you probably will end up with low cholesterol, but that doesn't mean it took care of the root problem of why you had high cholesterol in the first place. Because I could have taken a statin, but that wouldn't have taken away the mold toxicity.
So Jeannie asks, I'm on meds to stop GERD, which lowers my stomach acid. So can that be causing some of my digestive problems because I don't have enough stomach acid? That's a really, really good question.
Mhm.
Um, do you want me
It's
to start or do you want to start?
Go ahead. You have been through the ringer on a lot of the gut stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people with GERD, they actually don't have low stomach acid. They actually have high stomach um, acid. So I was there.
I think it's the opposite, isn't it? A lot of people with GERD have low stomach acid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you don't want to be taking something, sorry, to make it lower. Um, I actually, part of the reason I got H. pylori and Giardia was because I did not know my stomach acid was low.
Mhm.
And that means pathogens can thrive more. And that made me open so that when I came into contact with these things, my body couldn't fight it because my stomach acid was low. So yes, low stomach acid can lead to problems, and GERD a lot of times um, your stomach acid is already low, and we
And
need to give you betaine or something to help with stomach acid when you're eating certain foods.
right. And
Not
so magnesium actually is a lot of people are low in magnesium um, in general, the human population. One, because it's not as abundant in our food anymore. The soil that our food is grown in that pulls up the magnesium out of the soil into the food, it's just not there. Our soil around the globe is much less nutrient dense. So the food that we're eating doesn't have as much magnesium in it. And magnesium is actually one of the biggest stress nutrients that our body sucks up when we're under stress. And so if we're low in magnesium, from my training that I've understand, there's a message that goes to the little trap door that shuts the esophagus so that your stomach acid is not coming up into the esophagus. And when the magnesium is low, it doesn't get the message to close. And so it's kind of willy-nilly kind of open. And so that it is spurting up into the esophagus. So a lot of times it's not that you need more, you need to suppress the acid in the stomach. It's that you need the you need more magnesium and you need more calm. That's the reason we did the nervous system as number one module, is because a lot of people eat on the run, um, eat when they're stressed, eat at the wrong times of day. A lot of times people are eating late at night. They're not spacing out their meals. They're not giving the migrating motor complex enough time to clean up the junk in the system. So we're teaching you some daily habits, like when you sit down to eat, you put your feet on the floor, you sit when you eat, you do some breathing, just some calming, relaxing breathing. You smell your food, you think about the food, turn on your salivary glands so that you do start producing digestive enzymes that actually come out of your salivary glands and start to digest the carbohydrates that you're taking in. So there's this whole gut brain process going on that a lot of times people are overriding because they're eating too fast. They're eating on the run. They're eating when they're stressed. They're drinking water with their meal, which is diluting your digestive enzymes. So there's so many different pieces to it that could be really helpful to somebody that just is like, wow, I do all of those things. I eat on the run. I don't sit down. I'm stressed when I eat. I drink a lot of water before or after a meal or with a meal, which dilutes it. And if you can just start to peel away and make changes on those things, you might start to see, I don't have reflux anymore. And then you can titrate your reflux medicine down to something that maybe you don't take it anymore or you only need it, much less. So it's not a quick fix. It's something that has to go slow because you cannot go off reflux medicine quickly because you will have a big rebound and you will have symptoms.
those were really good points, Bobby.
Thank you. All right.
Anybody have any other questions? Those were really good questions. And I think we
Great.
all learned from the answers.
All right. I don't see any other questions. I don't see anybody raising their hand. And we don't want to keep people on here any longer than than they need to be. But thank you for coming. We really appreciate people coming live because it's nice to actually talk to a live person and answer questions. Like Heather and I said, we really do enjoy teaching and helping people and brainstorming and picking things apart and saying, well, have you tried this or do you do that? Or what's your history with this or that? So we would love to have you join us for the Root Cause Reset program next week. Please, if you have a friend or family member that you think would be interested in this, feel free to pass it on to someone. and they can always get in touch with us. We can make sure people get the replays if they didn't sign up, because today is the last official free webinar. But thanks for joining us. You will get this as a replay in an email, probably within the next 24 hours. So that is something you can share with everybody else. And we will look forward to seeing anybody, but let us know if you have any questions, and thanks for coming.
Thank you all for being here. It was fun sharing with you.
Bye.